Hello, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. This pre-Shabbos video Dvar Torah is sponsored by Sarah and Jonathan Abbott in celebration of Sarah's passing her anesthesia boards and becoming a board-certified anesthesiologist after many long years of training. Mazel tov to Sarah, and thank you, John Sarah, for sponsoring this video Dvar Torah. In this week's parsha, before the list of all of the different holidays, there is a short little passage beforehand that is a collection of laws, about a handful of laws related to shechita, to slaughtering animals. But it is somewhat curious because it contains laws both related to the slaughtering of karbanos, of sacrifices of holy animals that are specific to karbanos, and also laws of shechita that are relevant to the slaughtering of any animal, shechitas chulim, that apply even nowadays to the meat that one would consume. Let us briefly look at those psukim. Shor o chesav oez ki valed, vayashivat yamim tachat imo, umiyom hashmini v'hala yeratzeh lekarbani shel Hashem. When an animal is born, so for 7 days, you're not allowed to offer it. You have to leave it with its mother. Let the baby be with the mother. Let the mother have the baby. And only then can you offer it as a sacrifice. V'shor oso v'espino lo sishchatu b'yom echad. An ox or a sheep, it and its child, you may not slaughter in the same day. This is a law. Nothing to do with karbanos, but applies to all animals. You're not allowed to slaughter a mother and its child in the same day, presumably because that is seen as cruel. And when you will offer a sacrifice to Hashem, so now we're back to sacrifices. You must eat it on that day or within the prescribed time. You cannot leave over the meat to the next day or beyond when you're allowed to do it. So we're going back and forth between karbanos and regular animals, not slaughtering an animal and its child in the same day, not offering a carbon within the first 7 days, or not leaving meat over. What is the common denominator? What is the order and progression here? And then the Torah continues. Ushmartem mitzvosai, and you'll keep all of my mitzvos. V'lo sechalu eshem kadshi, you shall not desecrate my name. V'niktashti b'soch b'nei Yisrael, and I shall be sanctified within b'nei Yisrael. Ani Hashem HaKadosh, I am the Lord who sanctifies you. These great psukim, the prohibition against the chil Hashem, profaning God's name, and the mitzvah of Kiddush Hashem, to sanctify God's name. Such central, profound, challenging mitzvahs. Why are they placed here in the context of these details of how to slaughter animals, sacrifices, or not? So we're turning to the laws of the shechita, of the slaughtering. Some commentators understand that, yes, we simply have a collection here of the laws of slaughtering, a digest of halachos, so to speak, and it is presented before the holidays, because it is specifically on the holidays, Erev Yom Tov, the day before the holidays. That is when the Jewish people, when large amounts of animals would be slaughtered both to be offered as sacrifices, but also in celebration. People wouldn't every day or so often slaughter an animal, certainly a large animal like a cow. When would they do that? They would do that before Yontiv. So before Yontiv, the Torah reviews here some important laws related to slaughtering. And there really isn't a common denominator between the laws listed, other than it's sort of a how-to guide to celebrate and prepare for Erev Yontiv and your meat consumption. However, there is a way to see a unified idea here. And the idea would be as follows. The Torah is saying that when you come to Yerushalayim to celebrate one of the Shalosh Regalim, or wherever you are, if you've been in Israel for Pesach or Sukkot, you understand the spiritual energy that is in the air. People are excited. People are drawn to Hashem. In the days of the Beis Hamikdash, it would have been even more intense, and people would come to Yerushalayim and they'd be overcome, and they would want to offer sacrifices, and maybe suddenly they'd be overcome and want to offer many sacrifices. And the Torah is saying, when you will come and when you will sacrifice something to me, offer it so that it should be for your merit. Offer it so that it should be for your appeasement. Offer it so that it should provide me with a spiritual pleasure, Hashem says. Because I am worried that in your zeal, when you're overcome in intense spiritual inspiration, which is such a obviously good and powerful force, you will maybe possibly come to violate an ethical principle. You want to offer something to me, but make sure do not offer a baby in its first 7 days. Do not violate that bond of love between mother and child. And do not slaughter for sacrifice mother and child on the same day. That, again, of course, that prohibition applies always, but especially I'm worried that in your religious zeal, you will think that it'll be permissible, that you can violate that rule in order to offer something to me. That is not true. Make sure to guard and observe those ethical principles. And on the other side, v'lo totir mimeno haboker, do not leave any meat over to the next day. Why would someone leave meat over to the next day? It's not economical to eat everything that day, especially when you're offering such a large animal like a cow. You'll be forced to invite others, even people who you may not know so well, to come and partake. A person would have a yetzer hara to want to save the meat so that he or she can eat it over the week. Save the meat so that they can dry it and save it for a long time. Maybe save the meat to sell it. Make sure that when you are serving me, when you are offering a sacrifice, when you're doing a mitzvah, it's not self-serving. It's not for your own benefit, for your own financial or other benefit. Ushmartem mitzvotai vasitem osam. Perform my mitzvos, but perform them in the right way, in the right spirit. Don't let my mitzvos become a reason why you will violate some ethical principle. Do not let my mitzvos be a way for you to be selfish and take for yourself. V'lo techalu et shem kachi v'niktashti b'soch b'nei Yisrael. The greatest chilul Hashem is when the Torah itself, when the mitzvos themselves, or those representing the Torah and mitzvos, profane God's names by either, again, not being sensitive, hurting another human being, or using the Torah as a way to take, chas v'shalom, to even steal, to be self-serving, and to be self-centered and selfish. We all know that it is very damaging within our community when people see models of people who do mitzvos and do mitzvos with great zeal, with a true, sincere zeal, but that zeal leads them to make a mistake, again, to steal, to not be sensitive, to violate a ben adam l'chavero principle, or to some way benefit themselves. That is a great chil Hashem and pushes people away. We often speak of a Kiddush Hashem, of a global Kiddush Hashem, of being Jews that sanctify God's name beyond in the wider world, outside of the Jewish people, which of course is part of the purpose of the Jewish nation and such a beautiful thing. But we also need to make Kiddush Hashems within the Jewish people, internal Kiddush Hashems. Here the Torah is saying that when you are in Yerushalayim, in the Jewish environment, when it will be surrounded by Jews, bring karbanos, serve me, but do it in a way that will be a Kiddush Hashem. Make sure to combine true, intense, religious inspiration, yearning to cling to the divine, but in a way that will also be sensitive and ethical for all those around you, to make sure you do it in a way that is giving and is not selfish. That is the greatest Kiddush Hashem. V'niktashti b'soch b'nei Yisrael. You shall sanctify me within the Jewish people, an internal Kiddush Hashem. May we all be such models for our families, for our friend circles, for our community. When we do this, we strengthen each other. We all need chizuk. We all need to strengthen one another. We hope to be those Jews who serve Hashem, who are v'chi tizbechu zavach todah l'Hashem. In ritual, bein aron l'makom ways, we are inspired, we are connected, we offer sacrifices to Hashem, but in a way that is sensitive, bein aron l'chavero, that is loving towards those around us, and that is the greatest Kiddush Hashem that we can all make. Good Shabbos, everyone, and Shabbat Shalom.